Hey there, my wonderful friends. It's Kara, one of your hosts here at Kerouac Cruising. I am super excited to connect with you today. In this episode, we're taking a little detour from our Grand Canyon info dump and giving you a sneak peek into our lives. Get ready to dive into our recent hiking adventure up Red Butte, our pro tip for enjoying a breathtaking sunset in Arizona, and our undying passion for food and health. I've gone ahead and put together a blog on kerouacscruising.com that includes some amazing pictures from our hike and links to all of the recipes I'll be mentioning in this episode. Trust me, you do not want to miss out on this. So sit back, relax, and let's have some fun together. We hope that this episode inspires you and gives you some great ideas to join our conversation. Let's get started. Well, we just came back from hiking Red Butte. So we've got some things to share with you guys. We absolutely love this hike. The dogs absolutely love the hike. They are all conked out in their various beds, snoring the evening away.
We would have recorded as we hiked, but today was windy. The highs was 63, so it was really warm out. But because of the wind, it would have been too noisy to try to record hiking up. What we did discover, though, the hike, I tracked it on my tracker today, and it said it's 1.57 miles up and 1.57 miles down, so just a teeny bit over 3 miles. The hike up there does get pretty strenuous. When we arrived to the top, it was a strange day. There was thousands upon thousands of ladybugs at the top.
It was crazy.
So we're sitting on the picnic table having lunch, and it was cloudy out when we got up there, kind of cold with the wind. And the sun came out, and all the ladybugs tried to fly. They
all
launched.
took off. They were
It
swarming.
was so crazy.
I'd never seen anything like it. When we got there, I just noticed that there were these reddish orange pods of some sort covering the ends of a bush. So it looked really unusual, and I looked closer and I realized that it was just a ton of ladybugs just bunched up together, like all overlapping each other, all on top of each other. And when I started to look around, they were covering the surface of like everything from the trees to grasses to rocks. And then, like James said, the sun would come out and they would just launch off. And it must be they're awakening or their eggs hatching. It's the end of February. We've never seen anything like that in this area. So it was kind of really unique and cool experience.
The dogs chased a rabbit. It was funny.
They found a bunny rabbit, yeah. It outran them for sure.
And me and Kara got caught doing funny business with some hikers.
We weren't doing it with the hikers. We got caught by the hikers.
The dogs were barking, but we didn't believe the dogs, so... And then there was, all of a sudden, there was people at the top of Red Butte. It was awesome.
I don't think they could see anything, but it was still an awkward moment for everybody, I think.
Yeah, we packed our stuff and left quickly. They're like, have you seen our teenage son? We're like,
shit.
Bella was barking, but the other dogs weren't barking, so we thought nobody was here, and then we heard voices. But it was a good hike. We made it up in just under an hour, and we made it down in 35 or 40 minutes. So much faster going down. Beautiful day. The only thing we seen was the rabbit and the ladybugs, no other wildlife.
Yeah.
Just tracks. It is nice and dry right now.
Huge elk tracks.
Yeah, we did see some big tracks. On the north facing, there was still some snow, so the dogs enjoyed eating that.
Rolling around.
But the trail was dry all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in the fire tower. Views were spectacular. San Francisco peaks right now look so amazing because of the snow. Mm-hmm. And then the whole surrounding. I think Kara's going to post some pictures on our website.
Oh, I did take a couple.
If there's no pictures on the website, we're going to fire her. Don't worry. I will find a different co-host.
I don't know that you could stand being with anybody else for the amount of time we spend together.
We're going to find out if you make another mistake.
You could see the snow on the north rim of the Grand Canyon, which was pretty neat. That was a beautiful day.
Overall, great hike.
Yeah.
And, you want some dispersed camping. There was some campers out there just in tents, but all around Red Butte, all you got to do is get off on that Fire Service Road 320, and it is campsites galore everywhere right there. Really good spot. Really pretty close to the canyon.
We even drove around the backside, so we came back out to 340 made a left, and then a left back onto the 320, and the left onto the 305 behind Red Butte, east of Red Butte. And I followed that road, the 305, it curves around. So you go left, and that'll take you back out to the Highway 64. So you could really do a big loop looking for campsites out that way. And there's a lot of really great spots even on the 305, which is just north of Red Butte.
We don't like that road that much, but today there was a lot of campsites that we hadn't seen before, some pretty nice private big ones. So it was good.
That road's got a lot of traffic on it. There's a mine on that road, so we try to avoid it when we're camping. But
a lot of semi trucks hauling in and out rocks and stuff. Yeah, it's not a great spot for us. What else about Red Butte? And that was it. The dogs had fun.
We had fun.
We had cheese and crackers on top with some prosciutto. It was delicious with grapes.
It was that.
And dried mangoes.
My favorite goat's cheese, the lavender and fennel. So delicious.
The goat's cheese was good. And there was water up there. We gave our dogs water out of the water catchment system. So that was awesome. And everything else was intact up there. It was a good hike, good day. 3 miles up and down.
It's the perfect amount because I feel like right when the switchbacks just start making you think that you're done, you're at the top. Just when you're starting to be angry with yourself for thinking you should do this hike, you're at the top. It's a nice quick hike. It's enough to make you feel like you're getting a workout. And then you enjoy your lunch at the top, relax, eat lots of foods.
Sunset tonight would have been amazing up there.
My goodness. Our sunset tonight was on fire. Of course, we don't have a picture of it. It literally just looked like orange and pink fire on that horizon. I will give you a note about sunset in the area. The moment for sunset is actually not the sunset. It's the after sunset or the afterglow. Most of the time, our sunsets improve as time goes on, as it gets darker, especially when there's clouds in the sky. So I don't recommend just watching the sunset and then leaving. Whether you're at the Grand Canyon, Red Butte, or anywhere in Arizona, wait, give it a good 15, 20 minutes before you actually leave, because much of the time that is the better portion of the show. I think I'm wrapped up on Red Butte. It was a wonderful, wonderful day. We're glad we can share it with you guys.
Go camp at Red Butte. Go hike Red Butte. Go watch sunset.
So one of the things that I think as a couple are most passionate about is our health journey. We mentioned in our opening episode that we are pretty much spent the majority of our lives working in fast food, which really is a lifestyle. I'm sure most businesses are the same way, but when you're in food service, especially management, it's most of your life. So we ate nothing but fast food. And when we weren't at work, we did not spend a whole lot of time cooking. I grew up, my stepmom, who primarily taught me how to cook, her family was from West Virginia, and everything she made was from scratch. So every time she cooked, we were full on making pancakes from scratch. We made biscuits from scratch. We made everything. If we were making a tomato sauce, the tomatoes came in a can, the actual sauce came in the can, but we weren't buying no Bertelli's.
Prego.
Well, we were pretty poor, so it would have been Heinz. There used to be only like 50 cents for that big can of spaghetti sauce. We didn't do any of that. It was everything from scratch, putting in all the seasoning, slow cooking, simmering all day long. Everything took forever. So I didn't really know how to cook efficiently. Anything that I did cook, usually if it was going to be a fast meal, came out of the freezer section, or it was a microwavable meal.
Highly processed food.
Highly processed food, yes. And we have fluctuated in our weight, I think, over the years. We go on little spurts where we would get healthier. James has always been very, very physical. Fitness has been a part of his life the entire time I've known him, and obviously well beyond. I've never been in sports. I did track once in middle school because there was a boy that I had a crush on the track team. This is a funny story. My 2 best friends after high school were really into soccer, Becky and Jade. And I went to every single one of their soccer games. With the exception of Becky and Jade, I probably attended more of the soccer games than anybody else on the team, because every single game they had, I was present for. And so one time I was approached by the captain of the team, "Why don't you join? You're here more than anybody else." And I was like, "Oh no, you don't want me on your team. I'm a liability. I have no hand-eye coordination. I'm not good at any sport." And he was like, "Well, just think about it. We'd really love to have you on the team, blah, 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 whatever." game. So after the conversation, everybody's jumping back onto the field. It was during their halftime. I get up to go run to the restroom real quick. And as I get up and turn away, I swear it just must have been the perfect moment because they were just getting ready to throw the ball to start the half. I trip into a hole and fall flat on my face, emphasizing exactly why I should not be playing any sports, should not be on the field at all. I can't even walk. I am very clumsy, have terrible form in anything I do. So exercise has never been part of my routine. Now, James got sick right before we left Tucson. He had diverticulitis and he was hospitalized. What was it, for a week? 7 days?
For a week.
Yeah, really bad. They thought for a moment that they were going to have to remove part of his intestines. He ended up healing beyond that, even though they strongly recommended him to do that. They gave him certain foods that he had to avoid. But as we started kind of digging in on our own research, we found that it's not necessarily the seeds and the small bits that have a hard time digesting, like corn and things like that, but it's also how healthy your gut is.
It was really about, we used to binge eat.
We did, yeah.
We would go out and get the appetizer and then full on meals. And that's really, I found out over time that me overeating was some of the reason I kept getting the diverticulitis. I got it 3 times and it seemed like always after binge eating and binge drinking.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
So after we moved to Northern Arizona, I got a job working as a real estate assistant for a team. My boss and the owner of the team, she had beaten cancer, lymphoma, I'm pretty sure, using all natural healing. When she got diagnosed, she definitely did not want to spend her days sick on chemotherapy, radiation, and all of that. So she chose to go a natural route, beat the cancer. It did unfortunately come back again later, but she's beaten it again. She's just that amazing. But in her sharing her story with me, I learned the benefits of the natural world and healthy eating more than anything. So with her talking in my ear and his previous health problems, us trying to learn how to adjust to prevent him from getting sick again, he had also since found out that he had high blood pressure and he didn't want to be on medication for the rest of his life. We have a bit of an age gap, so I had a fear that I was going to lose him before I don't want to lose him, so I would need to keep him as healthy as possible. And the best way to do that is through food, through nourishment. So it started out small. We did a meal delivery kit because, again, I didn't really know how to cook efficiently. Everything needed to be a big to-do. You spend the whole day in the kitchen. So that really taught me how to cook food in less than 20 minutes. Go from raw food to having a delicious meal, combining different and unique flavors that was not on my plate growing up. So it really helped open our minds to different flavor combinations, had us trying different kinds of foods that we had never tried before. Then we moved off grid, and mail is very difficult where we live. So getting mail delivery was really difficult. We slowly transitioned into cooking for ourselves, and living out here, there's no restaurants. Closest restaurant's like 20 minutes away. We started cooking at home a lot. It was our primary option. And I think it was within a couple of months of living off grid, you would come across that video from Dr. Gundry.
Yep.
Was talking about lectins, and they're a protein. They're pretty much in every vegetable. Some vegetables have it in more than others. Essentially, obviously, fruits and vegetables don't want to be eaten, so they are poisonous. And again, some of them more than others, and we develop a tolerance to them over the years. But some people are more tolerant and some people are less tolerant. Nightshades in particular are a vegetable that has a lot of these lectins and ones that a lot of people are intolerant to. I guess Deidre at the same time had come and stayed with us, and she was on an elimination diet. She was having some health issues, had been going to a traditional doctor. They kept just putting her on different medications. Nothing was helping her. She was feeling worse, or they had all these side effects. So she ended up going to a functional medicine doctor that put her on an elimination diet to find out if there's something that she was eating that was negatively affecting her. And I think she did 45 days of a very, very basic diet. The only spices I think she could have was like salt and pepper. She wasn't allowed to have any soy, no sugar, no dairy, no gluten for sure, but a very, very strict diet. pretty basic diet. While they were here, we ate that same diet and it was delicious and it was easy to do. So we decided we're going to take with what we know with Dr. Gundry's theories and what we just witnessed with Deidre, who's our daughter-in-law, try an elimination diet or try a modified diet. So we did 30 days, no nightshades, which is tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and potatoes. And when we came off of that diet, we found that whenever we do eat nightshades, we have really bad stomach aches. They do make us sick. Kind of just kept changing and more from there. We started cutting out gluten. Sugar. Yeah, sugar's a big one. Carbs in general. At first, we were really, really strict. We only ate, for the most part, meat and vegetables, literally, and no nightshades at all. No soy.
Keto diet, really.
Yeah, keto. We did a really strict keto diet, I'd say, at first. And both of us lost a significant amount of weight and gained a significant amount of energy. And at first, keto, for me, it was really, really tough. I had the keto flu really bad, where I had really bad migraines, really bad exhaustion, would feel lightheaded pretty often. And then after that had passed, really it was upticking the fat. That was really hard for me to get into the habit of doing the MCT oils, eating a lot of avocado, getting the fattier cuts of meats, because it seems counterintuitive from what we're taught in traditional
Western medicine.
Yeah, and traditional nutrition. So once we got that kind of in, it was really great. We pretty much just ate salads in the summer months for sure, or meat and veggie soups in the winter months.
And the salads would have a good bit of meat in them.
Oh, yeah. Tons of protein. A lot of the dense vegetables that help keep you filled.
Beets. Carrots.
So we did that for a while, and then we started adding in things like sweet potatoes. We did rice from time to time, so I'm a terrible rice cooker. It almost always comes out partially hard. I can cook it for an hour and a half and it's still not going to be normal rice.
You know, we started walking daily, and we were doing intermittent fasting.
Oh, yeah.
So we'd eat all our food in 8 hours, and then we'd just have water the rest of the day.
For a while, we were doing it in a 4-hour period. I feel like we would eat in a very short window. Now we found, I think our rule of thumb is we eat when the sun's up. We do not eat after dark at all. That helps with your circadian rhythm. So it helps you be able to sleep better at night. But when the sun's up, your body is in food digestion mode. And when the sun goes down, your body doesn't want to process the food anymore.
I always worked out a little bit, but really only push-ups, pull-ups, and jacks, squats. But we did religiously walk, and we still do 2 to 3 miles a day. And if we miss a day, then we usually make it up doing a different hike somewhere else. But we pretty much get a little exercise every day in the form of walking.
Yeah, I hate it.
Or hiking. And we've been probably working on getting healthy for 5 years, probably, maybe a little longer, I guess closer to 7 years. And we've lost a ton of weight, really don't have a lot of fat on us, really can hike a good distance without really getting fatigued. And it's really just change of life.
That's it.
It's not like it was crazy or we were on Weight Watchers or something like that. We just decided that we wanted to eat real food. That's what I think. We decided we wanted to eat real food. Meat, vegetables, fruits, and no processed food, no highly processed food, very little bread, very little sugar, no soy at all, no pastas. Once in a while, we do reward ourselves and we'll have that cheat or reward and we'll have some bread or pasta. I mean, I love stuffed shells, tortellini, all that stuff I really like. But if you eat that every day or even 2-3 times a week, it just clogs up your system.
One of the biggest things I feel like I've realized, and it's been a huge awakening for me, is back when I did eat all of those processed foods, I always felt lethargic. I always felt unwell. I always had a stomach ache. I always had really bad headaches, but I didn't know why. Just thought that was just my status of being because it's the way I'd always felt. I definitely strongly recommend anybody who wants to change their eating lifestyle, start on an elimination diet, because you may think that you are eating healthy foods, but you're eating foods that your body cannot tolerate for whatever reason. And so you are not helping yourself at all. It doesn't matter how much nutrition you are eating if your body can't process it. So you need to find out what foods your body doesn't agree with, what foods make you feel.
If it's causing inflammation, it's not absorbing any nutrition.
If you don't feel well on a regular basis, your diet could be contributing to it significantly. So I strongly recommend an elimination diet or a whole 30 diet, a food map diet. There's multiple where you take out anything that could cause inflammation. You eat a very basic diet for 30 days and then slowly one by one start adding in the other foods until you start to be triggered. So you're finding out which foods negatively affect you.
And we still to this day find foods that negatively affect us because we try to eat a lot of variety of food is also the other thing we've been trying to do. So I've never eaten really parsnips and stuff like that my whole life. But we introduced parsnips, sweet potatoes, beets, radishes. We eat a lot of radishes.
Roasted radishes.
They're like potatoes.
Yeah, you dress those in oil, do Italian seasoning or just thyme, garlic, salt, and pepper, and roast them in the oven. They literally taste like roasted potatoes. It is so good. It's more variety. I don't think that you can have a bowl of cereal for breakfast and a sandwich with French fries or chips for lunch, and then a pizza for dinner, or a breakfast sandwich with your pasta lunch, fried chicken dinner. As Americans, we eat way too much carbs, and carbs aren't necessarily bad, especially when you're living a very physical lifestyle. When I'm not hiking, I'm very sedentary, so carbs are not as good, and carbs turn into sugar when they're processed. Sugar is in excess in all of our foods in the Western world. It's almost impossible to get away from it. And when you do try to get something that doesn't have sugar in it, these diet drinks, they're full of aspartame, which is basically a poison. It's a terrible rabbit hole. It really comes down to eating real food, but eating real food that's real good for you. Everybody's body's different. Everybody's bodies process food differently. We're very fortunate that both of us happen to have the same intolerances. For the most part, there's a couple of things that bother me that don't bother James and vice versa. But for the most part, everyone is different. And I think anyone who's thinking about going on a food journey does need to start with an elimination diet. Find out what works for your body, what does not. Avoid everything that doesn't. And then really things like Pinterest is an absolute wealth of information on how to make all kinds of amazing alternative foods that taste similar enough or give you enough of the foods that you love to make it so you don't miss it so much. There's a few great recipes for both pizza crust and bread using psyllium husk. So this is gluten-free. You've got bread that you can use as a roll with your dinner or to make a hamburger bun. It's a perfect pizza crust, not too heavy, not too overpowering in the flavor. So your ingredients really stand out. I make a apple streusel coffee cake that is to die for. You wouldn't guess that it isn't actually cake. It's made with almond flour. Lemon bars. I mean, there's just all kinds of delicious alternatives out there. The longer you go, I found, not eating the traditional foods, the more the alternatives taste more delicious. We've got these snacks that we like that we get at natural grocers. I call them cheesy poos, but I think they're actually called paleo puffs. They're supposed to be, a healthy version of Cheetos. I probably haven't had a Cheeto in 8 years. So they're absolutely perfect. And I'm pretty sure they don't even have actual cheese on them. I think they're made with nutritional yeast, which tastes like cheese.
We changed our diet for the better, and we feel better today than we did most of our life.
Absolutely.
Eating not so good food.
Yeah.
And people can make the change. It was a little easier for us because how far we moved away.
Yeah.
A real grocery store is an hour, 10 minutes.
I was addicted to fast food. It is an addiction. You drive past so many drive-thrus, it's hard not to just pull in really quick.
Kara was working in Flagstaff an hour away when we first moved out here, and she went to the fast food restaurant 6 times a day.
It wasn't 6 times a day, but
and she was at the dollar menu. She would come home and tell me it was only $1.
I definitely would bring lunch to work, and then after lunch would go out to a fast food restaurant and grab a bite to eat. That's when I was my biggest. Was when I was working in that office. It's been a nice change. I think that anybody's capable of doing it. I just think that it's deciding truly in your soul that you want to be healthier. You can't just say, I want to be healthier. You have to know that you desire it. It needs to be a deep-seated desire. You want nothing more in your life than to be healthier because it's the only way you're going to stick to it. Because it is a lifestyle change. You're not just going on a diet. It's not temporary. It is the rest of your life. When you consider you're going going to have this only one body for the rest of your life, you have to take care of it. The best way to take care of it is by feeding it real whole food. For the most part, we eat nothing but meat and vegetables, fruit and nuts. We eat very basic, real food. And I think that getting your mind wrapped around that that's the way that it has to be. It is a lifestyle change because now you have to cook more at home with your busy schedule. Maybe you have to spend half of one of your weekend days preparing all of your food for the whole week so that you're not going out to the fast food restaurants. We still eat a ton of food. We absolutely love food. It is one of our favorite hobbies is eating delicious food. So it's not about cutting how much food you eat. It's about removing the poisons from your diet.
You guys ever had any questions about eating healthy? Just reach out.
We're happy to share our wins and listen to your struggles.
And it's a journey.
It is a journey. It's always changing.
Some weeks we'll go out to eat twice, but if you consistently eat healthy and naturally you're cooking at home, that one time you go out to eat, you can pretty much have what you want. It can be done. And I think people that talk about longevity, that's what they talk about.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not an easy change at first, but as time goes on, think about the hardest thing you've ever done in your life, or think about where you are today. If you hadn't made the steps you made a year ago, you wouldn't be to where you are today. And that's the same thing with eating and diet. I just wanted to take a moment to thank you so much for tuning into Kerouacs Cruising. We are so glad you're here. We had a great time recording this episode, and we hope that you enjoyed listening to our adventures as much as we enjoyed sharing them with you. If you're looking for more amazing pictures and stories from our journey, be sure to check out our website and blog. If you're feeling social, you can join the conversation on kerouacscruising.com, Facebook at Kerouacs Cruising, or email us at join@kerouacscruising.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions. We're already looking forward to our next episode where we'll be discussing viewpoints at the Grand Canyon. We can't wait to share our experiences and insight with you. Thank you so much for listening to Kerouacs Cruising, and we'll talk to you soon.